Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today on a Monday morning. I am Marsh, joined by Rick Blaze back in the booth. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm happy to be here back in stride again with Marshmallow on a Monday. Let's go.
Well, back in stride are the Kansas City Chiefs, who are headed to yet another Super Bowl with their victory over the Buffalo Bills. They're going for their third straight Super Bowl championship, something that has not been accomplished in Super Bowl history. They're going to be going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, who take down the Commanders in dominating fashion. To no surprise over here, Rick. Let's start there. That's the one that's on the screen first. Your takeaways: Commanders go down, they give up a 50 burger to Philadelphia.
It was a good game matchup, but this just was a battle of two teams. One who's been there before, who has the experience, and a young team who people was hoping they can continue catching this lightning in the bottle and continue going on. But I think experience ultimately won out. The Eagles have a more complete team, especially their team can make stops defensively when they needed to. And the Commanders have kind of struggled with their defense all season long a little bit. It was kind of bend but don't break, but like you could feel the levees on certain games, like the dam is just breaking a little bit, and then Jaden Daniels usually was the X factor to take them over the top. But the Eagles' offense is way too much, and the defense is good enough to make a play when they need to make a play.
Well, this is just a football team. We talked about this before with Washington. If you're going to win that football game, you had to slow down Saquon Barkley. You just had to. And I don't care that they beat them in week whatever at the end of the game with Kenny Pickett coming in to replace concussed Jalen Hurts. I don't care that the Commanders played them tightly. If you're not going to beat and you're not going to slow down Saquon Barkley, you're not going to win basketball games. And they did not slow down Saquon Barkley last night. They had 13 first downs on the ground. The Eagles did. Obviously, they had that 18-second touchdown that answered the 18-play or 17-play drive that Washington started the game out with because you couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. And that is the recipe. That is what this football team does. I thought Jalen Hurts played really well last night. I thought he had a good game through the air. He was more precise than we've seen him, more aggressive than we've seen him in the past. He got A.J. Brown very heavily involved. But Saquon Barkley is the bread and butter of that Eagles team, and Washington had no answer. Absolutely no answer for Saquon Barkley. And if you're not going to stop, look, I think Saquon Barkley is the MVP. I know it's going to go to Lamar or Josh Allen, but I personally think Saquon Barkley is the MVP. He has meant so much more to his team than either of Lamar and Josh Allen. And that's saying something because those two have meant a whole heck of a lot to their two teams. Saquon Barkley has flipped this Eagles team from what they were a season ago to being a team that's one win away from a championship. Let's go to the Chiefs and the Bills. I mean, golly, you got to feel for Josh Allen and the Bills on this one. They did everything right except get a single stop. Chiefs are headed on. Feels like destiny. Feels like it was inevitable. The Bills again fall short to Kansas City.
This is a prime example of it doesn't matter if you hate the person or love the person. You can guarantee one thing: when it comes to winning time, Patrick freaking Mahomes will make the play. Not if he's going to make the play. He might make the play. The defense may have a chance to stop the play. No, 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 no. There is no ifs. There's no buts. There's no none of that. He will make the play. He is Tom Brady-esque in that manner. Guaranteed, if the opportunity is there, he will make the play. He has set himself up in a tier by himself. People have been saying it. If you thought maybe Josh Allen was close to or Lamar Jackson, no one is in the stratosphere of Patrick Mahomes because when a play needs to be made, no matter what's been going on, he will find a way to make a play, and the defense is going to make a timely stop. But Patrick freaking Mahomes, ladies and gentlemen, he's in his own stratosphere.
Here's
And
the
he's the
thing.
reason why, predominantly, the Chiefs Whether everybody talk to the defense and Andy Reid, forget all that. When you need a play made, he's gonna make it. He's
Well,
Jordan-esque in that manner. He's Kobe
yes.
Bryant-esque in that manner. He's Tom Brady-esque in that manner. He's
Oh,
Stephen
come on now.
Curry-esque in that manner. When you need a play made, forget about it. It's going to be made by Patrick Mahomes, and that's the difference.
I would also say the difference is, and you see it against in the first game, and then the inability in the second game last night is 4th down and 1. And I think there needs to be a massive hat tip to the Kansas City defense. There's 2 hat tips that need to be, and Patrick Mahomes is going to get all of them, but there's 2 that need to be called out. The first is the defense, because the number of times that they stopped Josh Allen on 3rd or 4th and 1, we saw this in the game before. It was a foregone conclusion that the Eagles were going to get a first down when they went to the tush push to move Jalen Hurts across the line. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is really that much more powerful of an athlete. And you're gonna always hear about his squat numbers and whatnot, but he's not that much more powerful of an athlete than Josh Allen. And in that game, as we get it, 4th down efficiency for Philadelphia was 1 of 1 and 5 of 10 on 3rd down. A lot of those were short yardage. We're just going to pound this over your face and we're going to get the first down. The Bills did not do that successfully against Kansas City. The same exact play, trying to just move a guy 1 yard, and Kansas City stood up to it. That's the first piece that needs some recognition, because that was absolutely impressive. I left the Eagles game saying we need to ban the tush push, and then you see it in the second game, and you're like, well, teams can actually stop it, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs defense did. Also, the play calling. I think that was a fantastic play on 3rd and 9 with the game on the line, or at least that possession on the line, to do 3 slants from your trips on the left, and you're running a right side halfback on a drag route across the quarterback's face, which is not an easy route for Samaj Piran to get to. And you're just sending that linebacker through all hell and high water to try to get there, and you're saying, my athlete is going to beat your athlete. A great scheme, a great play call with the game on the line by Andy Reid in Kansas City. I think those are 2 hat tips that deserve to be recognized as Kansas City marches on. We're going to get to plenty more Super Bowl preview. We got 2 weeks to do this, which I hate and I love. We got 2 weeks of build-up before Chiefs and Eagles goes down 2 Sundays from now. We're going to recap and preview all of that. First, let's head to the association, where plenty of question marks coming around Lamelo Ball and Charlotte. Lamelo Ball, one of the few players who's maybe rightfully deserved an all-star spot, though I don't know that he's necessarily better than the 2 guys that got in above him as an all-star guard. But Charlotte's still among one of the worst teams, Rick, in the entire SWBA. Is there a point where you think that LaMelo Ball is going to be dipping out of Charlotte anytime soon? Does he need to be pushing his way out of Charlotte to get to a better situation?
I mean, it's part of the problem. When they get a good player, the good player leaves. That is indeed the issue. They're unable to cultivate the best talent on the team. When they get some good talent that they drafted, like LaMelo Ball, your job, if you're Charlotte, a small market team, you got to do whatever you need to take to keep that person there, and that includes getting him breaking the bank to get better talent, and that also includes winning ball games and cultivating that culture. So you got to do what you got to do. You can't let them leave. It's like a Utah team. It's like the little small OKC. Like, you have to have the culture is so much more important. Basketball operations are so much important. What goes on in the locker room and the stadium is so much important, because, again, these small market teams, these players have to want to stay there. And we have a star in LaMelo Ball. You can't allow him to leave by any means necessary. To hold on to that guy. Do what you got to do, because he is a star in this league. Period.
Charlotte 12-30. That is the second worst record in the Eastern Conference, above only Washington, who's 6-38. Here's the thing, and so yes, you need to find a way to get stars, right? You need to find a way to get young guys. You need to find a way to control that asset early on and then make the right moves around it. It's why Oklahoma City's having success and Houston's having success, because they said, we're not going to rely on our picks only. We're going to go out and we're going to get a boatload of opportunities to make the right pick. And I think if you look at their track record of drafting, it's really good, obviously. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander came in from the trade with the Clippers with Paul George. Jalen Williams, I think, still has a very high upside, but there's still question marks about his ability as a number 2 guy. I was in Oklahoma City for their game against Dallas. I Did not see late in that game as Dallas pulled off the upset, really a lot of involvement of Jalen Williams with the basketball. I think this is still a one-star team that hasn't quite found their second guy. Chet Holmgren could be their second guy, but he's hurt. You look around this roster, they don't have a bona fide guy, but they found guys because they said we're just going to get as many draft picks as we possibly can, and we're going to see if any of them hit. So far, none of them hit to the All NBA, All SWBA, All Star level, but Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren could get there, but there's some challenges. What does that mean for Charlotte? Charlotte needs to find a way to get as many pieces, as many bites as the apple as you could possibly get. Brandon Miller could be a good one. He's out for the rest of the season with a wrist injury. But I think the biggest thing this team needs to do is figure out how to play defense. Because right now, they are not a good defensive basketball team, and Lamelo Ball is never going to be the spearhead of a good defensive basketball team. And that is incredibly valuable if you want to win in the SWBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a very good defender. Is he going to be an all-defensive player? No, he's not going to be all-defensive, but he's a very good defensive player on point guards. And that's what you need to have on your roster. So if I'm Charlotte, I'm finding one, a way to get LaMelo Ball involved in the defense, and two, finding ways to get as many defensive good pieces around him. Because if you don't, I've got very big concerns about Charlotte ever being a relevant basketball team with LaMelo Ball as your best player. Offensively, sure, he can do that. Defensively, I don't think that that's really quite there, and it's why we've seen this team really struggle, even though they've got a potential all-star starter in their backcourt, yet they still only have 12 wins, Rick.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put the Hornets as much on defense that you. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're incorrect, but I'm saying you have to do something first of all to get the butts in the seats. You have to do something to give this team hope. And you've seen teams who, aside from OKC, who's completely blown it out of the water, but you've seen small market teams like the Trailblazers over the years who go. There are certain ways to go about it. Either you're gonna go like OKC and you're gonna build through the draft, which takes you years upon years to do, right? And so you have a star right now that you have to do something about today. You don't have 4 years more to see if you can bring somebody in with him through the draft. So you have to do what the Trailblazers used to do, what teams sometimes do. You got to overpay for some guys to bring them in. You got to overpay. You have to. If he's going for $20 million a year in Houston, you got to pay him for $25 million to get him out there in short. Maybe $30 million. It is what it is. You need some short term guys. You should be trading for some veterans or some guys who can put some butts in the seats to help out LaMelo Ball. You have two options. You have two jobs. One, put some butts in the seats. Two, get LaMelo Ball some help. Those two things should be synonymous. And you don't have 4 or 5 years of build some draft picks, cool, but you can't wait and see if they're going to hit because you have a star right now that you have to keep in Charlotte.
Star right now, he's what, 4 years in. He's starting the fifth year of his, or the first year of his extension. They need to figure it out in many ways. Is he going? I don't know, because very few guys are going to be given the opportunity that he has offensively and not be bothered to care about defense the way that it is in Charlotte. All right, how about be bothered to care? How about the first week of conference play? In SimWorld U, plenty of activity. We saw a lot of top 25 teams go down as they had a 7-9 record. Top 25 teams did last week. That culminates, of course, with Georgetown losing on Saturday and St. John's winning on Sunday. So, Rick, any takeaways from you from the opening week of conference play in SimWorld U?
This is exactly what I thought it was going to be: complete chaos, complete madness. You've seen a lot of close games. You've seen a lot of teams who have been pretty much unscathed the entire season, which are Alabama's and which are Georgetown's. And these guys, this conference play hits different. These teams know each other. The players know each other. The GMs, I mean the university, the alumni. There's pride on the line. You're going to start seeing the level of play. This is where the men separate from the boys, because now you have to be that guy or that team, and there's no running, there's no ducking, there's no hiding. The intensity is raised up. This is the prelude to Hoopsteria, where you get to see, okay, these are the teams, these are the players who are going to not only elevate the team, but they're going to elevate their own game. This is where the stars are made in college basketball that sometimes are now catapulted to the SWBA. I can think of guys in these times. I know we're not tournament time yet, but this is the time when you start seeing guys the Bryce Drews of the world, the Steph Currys of the world. I'm talking about the college basketball version of these guys who kind of had, but they took moments like these where they rose to the occasion and became household names eventually at the next level. This is the best time for college basketball. This is my second favorite time for college basketball.
I think we're getting a little bit of confirmation is what I think we're getting. Okay. We're getting confirmation, and I'm not saying that people were right. I'm saying confirmation of we're getting a better picture of teams. So top 10 teams, top 15 teams that played last week. Butler loses, Mississippi State loses, Villanova wins, Kentucky wins, Alabama loses a close one, St. John's wins, right? We're starting to see, particularly from the elite teams, we're getting confirmation of who you are, okay? Alabama, I said this on the article that posted on Saturday. I'm not really too concerned with a 2-point loss on the road to an in-state rival. Mississippi State, I'm not really concerned with a 4-point loss on the road to an in-state rival. That's what we're starting to see, though, is the confirmation that these teams can go into tough environments, and you said the what is on the line, and we saw this with Louisville and Kentucky, right? I don't think we don't walk away from that Kentucky loss to Louisville at home, granted at home, and say, wow, fraud alert. We say that's what happens when you play a rival. And that's exactly what happened with those two teams. And then you see teams like Villanova who march all over, Texas, who dominates, Kentucky, who dominates. And it's, okay, these top 10 teams that we have not seen in action for much of the last month and a half, they came out playing their best basketball. And they looked exactly like we thought they were supposed to look, okay? That's what we're starting to get confirmation of. We're starting to get confirmation of teams like Georgetown, who've been up and down, now they're down. We're getting confirmation of teams like Gonzaga, who've been up and down, now they're down. We're seeing them in legitimate, challenging environments because it's tough to get up for a game in non-conference play, in an environment you're not really used to, against a team you don't have any familiarity with, which, by the way, is going to be very much what we see in Hoopsteria. But now you get the emotional games going, and we're starting to see this is who this team is when they show up, when the chips are on the line. And I feel good about Alabama. I feel good about Mississippi State, even though they lost, because they played competitive games in tough environments. Now, do they continue that trend, right? Do they take that home and keep winning basketball games? Do they continue to string up losses? Maybe. We'll find out. But the first week was confirmation of we're starting to see the pecking order of who we should believe in and who we shouldn't. And right now, the top 10 teams that have been sitting there in the SB Top 25, we can pick and choose who should be 1, who should be 3, who should be 5. But the top 10 teams are indeed the top 10 teams last week, and we'll see how that rolls into the rest of the season. But those are good things. We're going to continue to get confirmation as the season rolls on. All right. Let's head to the top 10. We had no game. We did have 2 games over the weekend, but let's roll into the SimWorld U top 10 plays of the week that was. Let's roll the tape and start things off at number 10, where it's Georgia's Royce Anderson. Reverse, up and under to get things rolling here with our 10th best play of the week that was on the road against Florida. How about going up? A little up, under, and good for the Georgia Bulldog guard.
At number 9, we're going to Princeton. Well, Little John Misty is Big John. Watch him go to the rack. Little man, elevation homes.
Coast to coast, no longer necessary trips for St. John's as they start conference play, but Kayshawn Shipp still gets it rolling here against SMU. A pair of SMU losses last week. St. John's showing why that was one of them.
And at number 7, we're going big fella. Big Maury Washington. He's on that post. My man, you are barbecue chicken. 2 hands like his mama taught him.
Ravion Timms might not be able to go in and get himself a glass of martini, but he can rise up high off that glass for this one. How about a little Kyrie-like action on the road for Butler? Up, under, kiss nice. It way that's up nice. Top.
And at number 5, we're going to go back to the SEC. Quentin Roux, or Rowe, depending on where you're from. We're going to call it Roux from Louisiana. My man with the move and the flush. Roulette. Take that.
Sometimes you need 2 chances to get things right. How about Quincy Henderson making best of the second on the road against Auburn? Little backdoor cut high, rising dunk on the oop. Alabama does end up losing that one.
And at number 3, we take it back to my hometown. We're going to Texas. My man Abshay Longhorn Nate is going to show you what he gets done. He throws it down in his face. That man has a mama.
Number 2, Quintel Patterson. Sometimes it's not all about power, it's about the delicacy of it all. How about this one? Man in his face, up, over, in for USC.
Oh, but not so fast, my friend. Let's double down. Number 1 in the hood, G. We stay in California where you can't ban the snowman, Jalen Snow, Gucci Mane, turnaround, jumper off the glass with the kiss. That's number 1 in the hood.
Heck, with this weather we've been getting lately, California could be getting some snow pretty damn soon. All right, we got a full slate of conference play returning this week. How about this one? CBS, Tuesday afternoon, Alabama, Kentucky, number 1 versus
That's
number
what you want to
6.
see.
We get
That's what we want to see.
Mississippi State back in action. We do not get UCLA, USC, but our game of the week is North Carolina and Duke. So disregard what you saw there. North Carolina, Duke, our game of the week on Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. And then after that, it's Memphis, Jackson State. Jackson State, one of the hottest teams in college basketball. Couple big wins last week. Memphis, one of the hottest teams in college basketball, a top 15 team in college basketball. That goes down on Wednesday. So we're back in action on CBS on Tuesday, game of the week on Wednesday, as we get rolling into week 2 of conference play. Rick, we'll be rolling in with you tomorrow morning once again. We got more action coming at you. A local broadcast only 3P of SimWorld U games. We'll get to those as a recap. Plenty more in the sports world to cover as well. We'll see you tomorrow morning here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.
This has been a presentation